Hi guys, Scott here from TEPIS Paranormal, and I'm back with day 20 of the TEPIS Paranormal Christmas Advent Calendar. So today we're going to be looking at Edinburgh Castle. Located in Edinburgh, Scotland, Edinburgh Castle is a large historic fortress that can be found on top of the Castle Rock, a volcanic plug in the middle of Edinburgh. Some form of human occupation has existed on this site since the 2nd century, and a royal castle has been present since the 12th century. During the reign of King of Scots Malcolm III, Edinburgh Castle became one of the most significant royal centres in Scotland, with Malcolm's son, King Edgar, dying within in 1107. Malcolm's youngest son, King David I, developed Edinburgh as a seat of royal power and held numerous gatherings of nobles and churchmen, thought to be a precursor to the Parliament of Scotland. Most buildings on the site at this time would have been timber, with the exception of the stone buildings of St Margaret's Chapel and a church dedicated to St Mary. St Margaret's Chapel still stands on the site to this day. King Malcolm IV, successor to David, is reported to have stayed in Edinburgh Castle more than any other location, but in 1174, King William the Lion was captured by the English and forced to give a number of Scottish castles over to English King Henry II in exchange for his release. The English occupied the castle for 12 years, until 1186, when Henry gave the castle back to William. By the end of the 12th century, Edinburgh Castle was established as the main repository of Scotland's official state papers. Through the years that followed, the castle suffered many sieges, now being known as the most besieged place in Britain. During the Wars of Independence, it changed hands a number of times, but in 1314 the Scots retook the castle from the English in a night raid that was led by Thomas Randolph. In 1507, the castle was the site of the first ever fireworks display in Scotland, and in 1511 the Great Hall's construction was completed for King James IV, though King James only had a few years at the castle before his death in 1513, during a battle with forces sent by King Henry VIII of England. The castle then served as a military garrison for hundreds of years, from the 1600s through to the 1800s, with many prisoners of war being held within. In fact, you can still see a hole in the castle wall where 49 French prisoners of war escaped. During World War II, the castle was used as a military hospital, with Luftwaffe pilots who were shot down being taken there for treatment and then kept as prisoners. During this time, the Crown of Scotland, which is part of the oldest set of crown jewels in Britain, was hidden in a latrine cupboard, or as it's known today, a toilet. Today, the castle serves as a tourist attraction, with 2 cafes present at the site, several shops and numerous historic displays, as well as an educational centre which runs events for schools and groups. At 1 PM every day, the 1 o'clock gun is fired, with the exception of Sundays, Good Friday and Christmas Day. This tradition began in 1861 as a method to help ships nearby tell the time. This gun was also used once in World War II when it was fired at a German Zeppelin in vain. The castle is said to feature several ghosts within, with former prisoners said to haunt the dungeons, as well as a headless drummer who was first seen prior to the attack from Oliver Cromwell in 1650. Many people have heard this spirit's drums at the castle, however his physical appearance is rare and is said to foretell danger to the castle. It's also reported that a number of misty figures have been seen around the castle grounds, with random and unexplained tugging on clothing and sudden drops in temperature taking place. One other tale from the castle's history tells of a piper that went down the newly discovered tunnels of the castle several hundred years ago. The piper played music on his bagpipes throughout his journey, however the music stopped, and when search parties went looking for him, they couldn't find anything. It's still reported that the lonely ghost of this piper still haunts the tunnels, and that you can sometimes still hear his music in the castle or on the streets above the tunnel. So, could this old Scottish castle be haunted by the many prisoners of war that were kept within? Could the musical spirit of a piper really be trapped within the castle's tunnels? And could hearing the ghostly drums of the headless drummer signal bad things to come? Investigations in the castle seem to be rare, with limited access, meaning that few investigators can get in. However, as new information comes to light with the goings on within the castle, this could very much change. But for now, I've been Scott from TEPIS Paranormal, and this has been day 20 of the TEPIS Paranormal Christmas Advent Calendar. I'll see you tomorrow for day 21.